place within the shadows, like an army in the night. Lock the doors and board the windows. A storm is coming.
They're voting now on reinstating Representative Justin Jones.
Of the Council Rules of Procedure, this special meeting of the Metro Council is being held for the following purposes: to announce the vacancy of the Tennessee House of Representatives District 52 seat, to discuss Council Rule 49 procedures, and to elect, if determined by this body, the election of an interim successor. I am hereby announcing the vacancy of the Tennessee House of Representatives District 52 seat. Councilmember Murphy, as chair of the Rules Committee, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to move to suspend Rule 49, Parts 1 through 6, and to immediately take nominations from the floor and vote today to fill the vacancy.
All right. Are there any objections to suspending the rules? Seeing none, rules are suspended. All right. All right. So in order to do this, because the rules have been suspended, we are asking anyone who wants to make a nomination to stand. Councilmember Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to nominate Representative Justin Jones.
All right. Councilmember Porterfield has nominated Justin Jones to become the interim successor, properly seconded by Councilmember Sepulveda. Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, without objection, nominations are closed. Go back to Councilmember Porterfield. You're recognized. Ready? We are ready. All right. So we are going to be on the board. If you are for the election of Justin Jones to be the interim successor for the vacant seat of Tennessee House District 52, you will vote aye. If not, you will vote no. Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Votes are in. Mr. Clerk, close the machines. Take the vote. Ayes 36, no 0. All right, so we can keep moving. Justin Jones.
Michael Steele, a unanimous vote there to return Justin Jones to the Tennessee State House.
Beautiful thing, ain't it? It's a beautiful
is.
thing when the people actually, when the people raise their voices and they say, this is who we want. This is what we want. I really hope America pays attention to this and understand the power you already have in your hand. Our founders gave it to us.
Good news with Justin Jones returning to the Tennessee House of Representatives. The Nashville Metro Council unanimously instated him as the interim representative to fill the seat that he was forced to vacate by the Nashville, Tennessee House Republicans. Yep, he is now the interim for himself until a special election can be held where he can run again and win again. And good job, Tennessee Republicans, you fucking idiots. You morons have somehow made two men martyrs, national political icons, and at the same exact time reminded all Americans across the country that the real politics happens locally, both on their council and county levels, and also at their state houses. Because I don't know if you House Republicans and all these state senators and all these state representatives have noticed, nobody has ever looked at you for the last 30 years. Thanks to Facebook and thanks to cable news, we've gotten rid of all of our local reporting. So we were left with just blaming whatever happened on Washington. And you guys love that. That worked out so well for you. People working in the state house, state representatives, state senators, they could do whatever they want. And now we know that all y'all are lunatics. Just crazy people. But even better, we also know that you live in our neighborhoods because your districts are smaller. You go to the same place as us. We might run into you at Target one day on the weekend. We might start noticing your face and asking you questions like, hey, why aren't you guys raising the minimum wage? Why aren't you guys doing anything about all the crime? Why aren't you guys doing anything beyond just tweeting to 5 likes, thoughts and prayers when a tragedy happens? Because you guys have been able to do that kind of in the open for years because nobody has ever looked at you. But now the Tennessee Republicans had to overstep so much. They could have just called the recess exactly the way they did, kicked them off their committee seats exactly the way they were going to do, but they had to make an example. And by making an example, they have shown the nation that the Tennessee House is an example of what happens in every state house in all 50 states. So now people are starting to watch. People are starting to Google, who is my state representative? And people are starting to notice that next year is a big election year. And it's not just the top of the ticket we got to look at. It's the whole thing. Good job, Tennessee GOP.
Talk about the biggest backfire for Republicans that you've ever seen.
Mr. Clerk, close the machines, take the vote. Ayes 36, no zeros, no abstentions. All right, so we can keep moving.
In a pretty massive upset for Republicans, the Nashville Council has voted unanimously 36-0 to reinstate Justin Jones to the Tennessee House of Representatives 4 days after the chamber's Republicans used their majority to expel him for the crime of standing alongside students and young people protesting the inaction of those Republicans in the wake of students getting shot at a Nashville school. The Nashville Council returned Jones back to his District 52 seat as an interim representative until a special election is held to permanently fill his seat. And given that Jones is also eligible to run, there's no reason to believe that it would ever be anyone other than Jones. The other black legislator expelled by the Tennessee House of Representatives is Justin Pearson, who represents the Memphis area. County commissioners in Shelby County have similarly vowed to reappoint Pearson to his House seat. That commission will meet on Wednesday this week to discuss the matter. And of course, the final Democrat who Republicans set their sights on was Gloria Johnson, who avoided an expulsion by a single vote. And the only difference between her and the other two? Well, take a look for yourself. And look, I'm not saying that the only reason that Gloria Johnson was able to keep her seat was because of the racism of those Republicans, but that is exactly what Gloria said.
I will answer your question. It might have to do with the color of our skin.
So yeah, take it from her. And so in their desperation to consolidate power and discard democracy, now Justin Jones is arguably one of the most famous politicians in the entire country. He's back exactly where he started, and the eyes of the nation are now on Tennessee Republicans for their overtly anti-democratic behavior. And if by some miracle you don't think that Republicans fucked themselves here, take a look at Justin Jones leading a line of people as far as the eye can see. And here he is getting a hero's welcome as he arrives at the Capitol.
Being told this is it, the moment's about to happen, the doors are opening, and Justin Jones is re-entering the chamber of the Tennessee State Legislature to tremendous applause. We are losing Mark Thompson, but we still have Eugene Robinson and Juanita Tolliver. Juanita, what does this moment mean for you?
I am ecstatic. I just want to continuously say this is the only appropriate outcome for Representative Jones. I want to see the exact same for Representative Pearson. And honestly, I hope the people of Tennessee are watching this in real time. I hope they're seeing these images. I hope they're seeing all the steps from the Nashville Metro Council to this walk back to the State House to this entrance to the floor of the State House, because we understand that Republicans in this country don't want history told in the way that it actually happens. And so this is a historic moment in the state of Tennessee that shows that the people will not back down.
In other words, Republicans have unilaterally handed Justin Jones the country's biggest microphone, all because they were so desperate to silence someone who they didn't like and who had the audacity to disagree with them. And whether it was because he was a black man who dared speak out against them, or a liberal who dared speak out against guns, either way, Republicans couldn't accept the prospect that someone could commit the sin of speaking out against their inaction on gun violence, even as 9-year-old kids were mowed down in their schools. Because that's the problem here. Someone deigning to identify guns as the problem in a country that has a monopoly on both gun ownership and mass shootings. God forbid someone draws the very obscure link here. What's amazing, too, is watching the speed with which Republicans act when they want to do something. Expel some black legislators who dared speak out against them, give them a single day. But do something about gun violence as little kids are getting slaughtered? Well, you see, we can't act too quickly because we wouldn't want to politicize the problem. And also, it isn't really about guns, it's about mental health. And it's also about doors. And it's also about godlessness. And it's also about the disappearance of the nuclear family. And it's also about video games. It's just excuse after excuse because the reality is that they don't want the problem to be solved. Their priority isn't the children, it isn't anyone's lives, it is the guns. And the faster we all accept that, the sooner we can stop fooling ourselves into thinking that they will ever do anything to stop it. And that's the point here. There is only one way to curb gun violence in this country, and that is to pass legislation, assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. We need legislation to solve these problems, and that will not happen so long as Republicans are in office. So if you're a low propensity voting Democrat, if you're an independent, if you're a Republican who values the lives of children above the proliferation of guns, then put the partisan allegiances to the side and put people in power who are not wholly owned by the NRA. That is the one and only solution. I don't know how many more ways that Republicans can tell us that they are not willing to do anything to stop these shootings. They will never, never, never put people above guns. So if we want the gun violence to stop, we need to put people in power who are not there to defer to the guns. Period. Full stop. We should also reject wholesale this notion that we are powerless here, that we couldn't possibly do anything to solve this epidemic of gun violence plaguing this country, which I should note is the only country on the planet where this happens. And here's Jamie Raskin tackling that exact issue.
When gun violence happens, their go-to motto is, oh, this was evil, this is moral evil, there's evil in the world. Suddenly, they're all like cloistered theologians just pronouncing upon evil in the world, as opposed to elected officials who are sent to Congress in order to get something done, but they just throw up their hands and say, well, oh yes, 3 more school children were assassinated in school. There's evil in the world. C'est la vie. What more can be done? I mean, it's obscene. And future generations will look back on this as a period where an entire political party basically adopted an implicit policy of mass sacrifice, because they're basically saying we're going to sacrifice all of these innocent people who are being mowed down in massacres and just the daily toll of gun violence to our vision of the Second Amendment, which is a completely twisted and distorted view of the Second Amendment.
And look, I'm not so naive to think that Tennessee is going to flip into some liberal bastion because of this, but I do hope that this has woken up an entire generation of people, of young people, of black people, of independents, of pro-democracy Republicans, and shown them what's at stake when the party in power no longer respects the rules of a democracy. Consider this. A University of Washington study ranked the health of democracy in all 50 states. The lowest scoring state in the entire country, you guessed it, Tennessee. And now we're seeing exactly why that is. So while I'm under no delusions about the political tilt of Tennessee, I'm also hopeful about the sheer quantity of people who are paying attention now, if only because Republicans overplayed their hand and watched their disgusting power grab backfire in spectacular fashion.